Hello everyone, in this tutorial I will explain how to use all the tracking constants with example, and I have already covered how to use all the transform constant in my previous tutorial, so if you haven't seen that, please check that out. Link will be in the description. Also you can download the free project file from my Gumroad page, and so you can follow along the tutorial, and all the Patreon will receive two project files, one with constant and one without constant for exercise. So let's get started. So I prepare this scene for a clamp to constant. By the way, there are two type of constant. One is object constant and another one is bone constant that you can access in the pose mode. And all the thing I will show in this tutorial will applies to bone constant and object constant as well as my previous tutorial will also work both on bone constant and tracking constant. By the way, for the bone constant we have two extra constant, this one IK and spline IK, which we will cover in this tutorial. So let's start with the clamp to constant. So I prepare this scene with the rocket which we want to launch. So if we will make it, then we will have to like do this, then it will go straight, but it should go like this. So how we can do this is with a constant we can do it pretty easily. So I have this curve, this rocket, so we will add a clamp to constant and then we will select this curve, and now if I move this, see, it's going like the way we want it to go. Also here you can change the axis, like x-axis. Now if I move it in the x-axis, it will go like that. If I now move it in the y-axis, it will go, or z. By the way, auto works in most cases, and there is a cyclic which will cycle, see. So turn this off and place it back where it was. So this is clamp to constant, pretty easy. Let's move to second one, IK, which is really important constant for character rigging and mechanical rigging. So we will rig this piston. So let's get started. We will do this with the bones because we do not have IK constant for objects. So hide this for now, cap, and I will select this one and shift S cursor to selection. Then I will add shift A, I will add a bone, and then I will rotate it by 180 degree so it's pointing downward. Also I will apply the rotation, and now I will select this and shift S cursor to selection. Then I will select this, I will go into the object property, and then I will click on in front so we can see it, and then in the edit mode I will select this head of the bone and then shift S selection to cursor. So we have this over here, and then I will have like I will select this and then this, and now I will press shift S cursor to selection. So we have this over here, and now I will add one more bone, so E Z like this, and then I will press shift S cursor to selection. So we have one bone for this object and one bone for this object. We need one more bone for this object as well that I forgot to add. So E Z, and then I will do switch direction. So if you see it's not connected, so select this one and then press Ctrl P, connect. Now it's connected, and we do not want to connect this. So what we will do is we will select this, I mean press Alt P, clear parent. Now it's not parented, and we will have like one more bone for stretching, which you will understand once we make it. So again, switch direction, parent this to this, control P, parent, and now it's parented. So now let's parent everything to the object. So select this object and then the bone, go to the pose mode, select the bone which you want to parent to, control T, parent to bone. Now I will repeat this process for all the objects. Again, select this, select the armature, go to pose mode, select the bone that you want to parent to, control P, parent to bone. And for the last one, this one, again go to the object mode, select this, select the armature, go to pose mode, select the bone that you want to parent to, control P, parent to bone. So now if I move this, it will move that one. If I move this, this will move this one, and this will move this one. So now let's add IK constant to this bone, because this will IK to this one. So IK, select this armature. By the way, we will have to rename it, so we can I will name it target, so we can select it easily, the target. Now I will have add one more bone. So I will just duplicate this one, shift D. Oh, by the way, for duplicating we will have to go to edit mode, shift D. I will move it in the x-axis. I will name it controller CTRL, and we can now switch the direction. So now if I rotate this bone, it should work, but it's like not working, because I will have to parent this one in the edit mode, parent this bone to this one, but I will have to keep the offset. So now if I rotate this one, it should work, but it's not working like the way we want it to work. So what we can do is, we can select the bone, go to the bone setting and add this stretch. Now see what's happening. Now it's working, but not the way we expected. So if I enable this cap, now if I animate it, you will see it's going through this object. So how we can fix this? It's also pretty easy. Just select this bone and then lock the x-axis, then select this, lock the x-axis as well. Now it should work. See, so this is IK constant. By the way, we have four more setting for the IK constant. So let's see. This one is pole target, that we can set like in this example we do not need any pole target, but let me make one for demonstration purpose. So this is the bone, and now we can add this bone to the bone to like pole. So name it pole. It's always good to name all your bones so you can easily select that. So now as you can see, it will point the pole targets. So if I hide the stick, you will be able to see that this one is pointing this one. So if I move this will also move. So this is what we have pole target for, by the way. Go to edit mode and delete this one, because we do not actually need this in this example. And then we have few more settings. Let's see. Like this pole angle, which will work with the pole target. We can rotate that over here, and then duration, and then chain length. If you want this to only work like from this bone to this bone, not this, you can select that over here. If you have like 10 bone but you want the IK to work on only 5 bone, then you can type in 5 over here. and then this is use del use, this is explanatory. And then so let's move to next one, which is lock track. This, so I have prepared this scene for like thruster, which is just a cylinder, and I deleted all the faces, and then I added solidify and bevel modifier. So let's see how we can make it thrust, open and close. So what we will use is lock track constant, which is pretty similar to, let me delete this, which is similar to track 2 or dump track. By the way, I have already covered the dump track in my suspension tutorial, so and my previous tutorial. So if you haven't checked that, again link will be in the description. So I will not cover the dump track in this tutorial. So we move to lock track. So select this one, go to edit mode, and then select this top edges with the alt and click. Now press shift S, cursor to selection, and I will add an empty over here, this empty. By the way, let's see how it's worked before we move to our example. So I will add a monkey, and I will add something like anything like this. So we have this monkey, and with the track to constant, it will always track to this like -g. So now it will tracking, like it will looking to this object, but with the lock track constant, it will lock the one axis like this. So it will not look up, it will only rotate around the way it's moving. Like if you have flag or something and you want the flag to rotate but flag will not point, then you can use this, and this is what we are going to use for this thruster. So I will select this one, lock track, and then I will select this empty. Now it's moved over here. So we want to lock the x-axis, so click on the lock x, and we want this to track to z-axis. So I will click on -g or maybe z. So now it's tracking toward the z-axis. So we can move it and it will do this. By the way, now what we can do, we can select this reset the cursor to center of the origin and add one more empty. I will add this sphere, which will look good, and I will select this bone, and then I will parent this bone to the sphere. So now if I scale this, it will go move open and close. So now hide this for now, and then I will select this and then this. I will go to the top view for I will move it over here so we can easily see this. So I will select this both and make sure you will have in it, and the pivot position is 3D cursor, and then press shift D and then R and then Z. I will now rotate this in this direction by 45 degree. Now I will press shift R, it will repeat the last process. So we have this, and now I will do one more thing. I will select all, then I will duplicate this, and now I will scale it. So if I now scale it, it will go down, but if I press shift Z, it will not, like it will only scale it in the Y and X axis. So we can do this. Just over here, then I will rotate RZ, and I will rotate it like so. It should be 22.5. So now we have this, and which is already parented to this bone. So now if I scale it up and down, we can do this. By the way, if you want more control over this, then you can also make it push it up or down, push or up like this, or you can scale it like this. Now let's move to next constant, which is spline IK. So I will not actually rig this main strap because it's high dense, high detailed model which will slow down my computer, so I will do it in this simple object. And I have this solidify modifier on this plane and then subdivide modifier. So let's add bone over here, armature, and one, select this, shift S cursor to selection, and then I will select the top of the tail of the head of the bone, and then shift S, and then shift S, snap to cursor location. And now I will select this, go to bendy bone, make the display, make the bendy bone so we can see, and bendy bone setting, and I will add like 3 or 5 objects. So I will add 5 bendy bones, so you can see it's now 5 of them. Now let's change to back to octaves, and now so we can easily see it what we are going to do. That's why I am changing it over and over again. And so now I will subdivide this by like 3 times or 5 times, maybe 4. So if I subdivide this 4 times, it will create 5 bones. So we have this 5 bone. And now we can use the spline IK. So for the spline IK we need a spline. Select this, cursor to selection, we need and add a curve like this one, scale it, and then scale it in the y-axis to make it straight like this, and then rotate this RZ 180, and then select this one, I mean this bone, and then move it over here, something like that, and this one over here, something like that. Now depending on how many controller point you will need, you will subdivide this into the same amount of pieces. By the way, I will only need 4 controller or maybe 3, so I will subdivide it by 2. So I have 4 controllers, which you can change over here, so something like that. For the spline IK, go to this one and then go to the bone property, and then select the last bone, the last one, not this one, on the last one, or maybe the first one, I don't know, and then select the spline IK, and then select the spline, this one. By the way, it's going opposite direction because the spline is going in the opposite direction. As you can see, arrow is pointing that way. So select all of this, right click, switch direction, now it's pointing the same direction as the armature. Now select this, and now you can see this one is stretched. We can change this chain length over here, so click this. Now it's using 2 bones, 3, 4, and then 5. So now all the bones are in this chain. We can select the event distribution. By the way, all of our bone are and the same length, so event distribution will not work. So if I make this one little bit bigger, and then I will go into the pose mode, see it's bigger over here. But if I click on event division, then it will make it same length of this. So this is not what we are going to do. And what we have, Then stretch mode, if you want to fit it to the curve, or none, then it will not fit the curve. And scale mode, and then chain offset. So now let's test it. Go to the edit mode, and then if I move this up now, see, the bone is also going along with it. So what we can do now, we can select our object, then bone, then control P. This time select the with automatic weight, which will create the weight painting automatically. So if I go to the weight painting mode, weight paint, see, it's created the weight for each of our bones. Sometime it doesn't work, then you will have to manually paint it. By the way, this time it worked pretty well, so we do not have to do any manual painting. So now what we can do is, we can select this, go to the edit mode again, and then now if I push it upward, see, it's doing the magic. By the way, we can do one more thing, we can add a controller. So control H, hook to new bone, one controller, and then another one over here, hook to bone with the control H, hook to new object, and then select this, control H, hook to new object. By the way, we can create more, but that's enough for now. So now we can just move the empty like this, and this one also, or this one as well. And we can also use the sphere, make it sphere, so it will look good. Now see, we can do this for some reason, and then you can change this to like B bones, then it will look good. See, and that's it. I think it should work. It's not working, I don't know why. Okay, so let's move to the next one, which is track to constant. So this is really useful. I prepared this eyes, and yeah, so we have these two eyes, and then we can add this object over here, and then we can have our eyes to always point to this empty. And see, now we will have to play around with the setting. So the Z should be always G because it's the Z axis. Then we want this to look in the Y axis, but in the negative direction, because this one is minus, this one is plus. So if I click this, see, it's pointing this one. We can delete this one, and then shift T and move it here. So now if I move this, it will always point toward the eyes. By the way, it's a really useful constant, which we can also use with the with the camera and lights. So let's move to this and see what we can do with this. For some reason it's lagging. No, it's okay. Now I will add light, area light. I will move it up, increase the intensity so we can see the effect. Too much, 500, 100. Yes. Now let's see, it's pointing this one, but if I move it over here, so it's not pointing the monkey. So what we can do is, we can add a constant to the light as well, and then this monkey. So we need the up direction should be the Y axis, so change it to Y, and then it should point the Z axis to this monkey. So now if no matter where we move, it will always point toward the monkey. So shift T, add more lights, move it here, move it okay, or move it backward. It will always point to the object. Also we can add camera like this one, Shift R, Z, push it up and then push it down. So now I can add track to the camera as well, and then I will select this. So up should be Y, I think, and then it should point like x-axis, y-axis, maybe it should be X or Z. Yes, either. Yes. So now if you go into the something is wrong, delete this because I can't see the actual property of the camera. So let's first set up the camera. Now I will apply the rotation, which we cannot, so reset the rotation. So the camera it should be like Y, and then it should point the Z direction to that way, to the minus. Yes. So if I move this up, see, camera will always point to this direction and it will create really cool camera animation. So let's go to the camera. See, if I move this one, see how cool it's creating camera movement with no effort at all. So that's it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial I will cover all the relationship constant, which is really cool constant. And if you want to support this channel, you can join our Patreon and you will receive all the project file from the our tutorials, like this one, this one, this one, and much more. Like more than 20 project file is already available for just $3, and you will have all the extra benefits as well. And yeah, that's it. And thanks again for watching. See you in the next one, and if you enjoy the tutorial, consider subscribing.